Hi everyone, my name is Linda Cadega. I use they, them pronouns. I'm a reporter for io9 and I'm here with V.E. Schwab.
Yes, thank you for having me.
Thank you for being here. If you don't mind,
Yes.
Can you tell me why we're here today?
That's a great question. What's funny is that I thank God for this, or else I probably would be like, which book am I here for? I have so many. I am the author of more than 20 novels for children, teens, and adults. Most recently, The Invisible Life of Addie LaRue, and before that, the Shades of Magic series. And this fall, the Threads of Power series, which is the next arc set in that world, a whole new series, starts with the Fragile Threads of Power, will be hitting shelves. And so in one sense, it's coming home. In another sense, it's a brand new beginning. And I'm so excited to reintroduce some readers and introduce others to this super queer, weird fantasy series that I write.
Right, and just so we're clear,
Yes.
this is a continuation of the Shades of Magic series.
It's set in the same world.
Okay.
7 years later, you can absolutely start here.
Great.
I think, obviously, I'm a little bit biased, but I think like you would probably enjoy going back and reading Shades of Magic, but we have, the old cast will be in the background, but they are reintroduced to you, and there's a brand new cast as well. So if you want to start with Fragile Threads of Power, you are more than welcome to.
Excellent.
Yeah.
All right, so I've been a fan of yours for a while. I think the first book I read of yours was Vicious.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so I think I got that in like 2014, 2015, like sometime when it came out, and I was just like, bad boys.
Yes.
I see the appeal, not for me personally, but like, interesting.
Yes, toxic bromance meets like supervillains, so it's like Secret History but with superpowers. Yeah.
We love it. I mean, like, what is it about bad boys in fiction, in like literature? Because
I
there's
mean,
so many good ones, but that are bad.
I think it's like bad boys, bad girls, bad theys. Like I just like, I want them all. Like I think that villainy is a really interesting thing to explore, and antagonism. There's a permission that villains have to move through the world at odds to society and its expectations. And I think we as readers have a huge catharsis following them. Like we've all wanted to slash someone's tires. We've all wanted to, set fire to an ex's box of things. And like, we usually don't because because society tells us. Allegedly we have never done these things because we're told not to. And I think that as the world shows itself to us all the time and we feel disenfranchised, we feel alone, we feel lost or at odds, it can be really nice to watch someone acting out in the ways that we feel that we can't. I also think that, hero and villain are a matter of perspective. It's a matter of perspective. And so like we are usually told who to align with based on their morals or ethics, but really like we don't judge a person by what they do. We judge a person by why they do it. And I think the most interesting thing we can do is take a villain and give them a very sympathetic reason for doing what they do and wonder if perhaps they might be a better hero.
Yeah. Yeah, one of my favorite pieces of yours that I have is randomly the comic series you did with Maxim. I don't know, there's something about that series that's just like, it's so elegant. I love it. Yeah. I'm wondering, what was the process like? I think that didn't you write that series? Yeah, so what was the process like writing that in a comic book format?
It's freeing. Like I write TV and film scripts as well, and the thing that I love about scripts is that essentially they're living documents. So as with a novel, I have to dictate every word that you, the reader, will then read. With a script, be it comic or TV or film, I'm making a blueprint for other artists to then interpret. So the dialogue becomes the only piece that the reader or viewer actually sees or hears. The rest is a conversation with the artist or with the director. I find it incredibly freeing. I'm a cinematic writer. I like to imagine a movie in my head and then transcribe it on paper so that the same movie plays in your head.
Right.
This is just the more direct version of that.
Excellent. Honestly, the costumes
Elegant.
were so good.
I live for the fashion. I think fashion's a really cool shorthand in books as well because it's something that helps us immediately picture a character.
Yeah, and fashion, specifically like one fashion item, kind of makes its way through both the Shades of Magic and this series. Can you tell us about that item?
Oh, the coat.
The coat!
So the opening line of A Darker Shade of Magic, Kell wore a very peculiar coat. It had neither one side, which was ordinary, nor two, I can't remember the exact words, nor two sides, which would have been unusual, but many sides, which was in fact impossible.
Right.
It's basically my room of requirement. Like it's my nod to that idea of the coat being whatever you need. The coat evolves with Kell's character. It provides new sides for him to wear depending on the environment that he's in, depending on the needs. Sometimes the coat is predictive and it manifests a side before he figures out how he's going to need it. It's probably my favorite character in the books.
What designer do you think would have designed the coat, like
So,
in our world?
I am very biased,
Sure.
but I'm currently wearing Alexander McQueen, and I
about to
feel
say-
like, I feel like McQueen would kill it.
I agree.
Yeah.
I also want to propose Vivian Westwood.
Oh, obviously, yes.
Cool.
Obviously.
Maybe one side is Westwood,
I was gonna say,
and the other side is
that would
McQueen.
be even more magical. Different designer for each side of the coat, different ambiance, different
vibes.
style. Oh, now, I mean, thank you for, that's gonna live rent-free in my head now, so
Anytime.
Thank you for
You're
that.
so welcome.
In a film adaptation, we will make sure that each designer takes a different side of the coat.
Are any film adaptations in the works?
Yes, I mean several. So A Darker Shade of Magic in
Really?
development at Sony. I'm writing the script, which is very, very exciting. And Addie LaRue in the works at io9 with an incredible writer-director team there. I tend to be really, and then a few I can't talk about, but I tend to be really, really hands-on with my script works. And also I'm hands-on with the decision of when to not write it myself, because I think we have this idea that the author is the best person always to adapt their own work, but what makes a good movie and what makes a good book are in conversation with each other, but they're not the same thing.
Yeah.
You
That
know?
reminds me of Gillian Flynn.
Yes.
She wrote both the book Gone Girl and the script.
Yes.
Wow.
Yeah, wildly, but slightly,
talent.
I mean, those worked in conversation. I think it's even harder in fantasy because there's a distraction level. The best examples I give are The Princess Bride and Howl's Moving Castle.
Yes.
Works that are not the same in book and film, but are absolutely love letters to each other in book and film. And so I usually am in conversation with people asking, like, am I the best person? Did I envision the movie while I was writing the book? In which case I'm a good person to adapt it. Or do I need somebody with a slightly different perspective?
Yeah. So famously, Leigh Bardugo fan cast Ben Barnes as the Darkling on Tumblr.
Yes.
And that happened for her, and we're so grateful.
Yeah.
Have you fan cast or like imagined anyone for your characters?
Oh, I've imagined many people.
Can you give me like a couple like dreams?
Here's what's interesting is that the adaptations take a long time,
Of course.
famously, and so some of the actors who I had originally fan cast are no longer like
Sure.
the right age. But I'll say an actor who I'm deeply enamored with right now that is not going to seem obvious, but I kind of think he might be able to do anything. Taron Egerton. Taron Egerton, who started out in Kingsman and then was Elton John and then was Blackbird. And it was watching Blackbird that I was like, oh, are you just phenomenal at everything you do? I feel like Taron might be a really interesting Kell. Holland is the weirder one. Like,
Interesting.
I think you could have Holland could be a Penn Badgley, Holland could be a Cillian Murphy, Holland could be Adam Driver, Holland could be anyone that it just looks like a little disturbed and depressed.
Like, just like a little weird.
Exactly. And then
little
Lila's too
uncomfortable.
hard. Yeah. Lila's too hard. I think Maya Hawke would be an amazing Lila.
Maya
like
Hawke
I think
would be a great Lila.
I want someone who has a little bit more of that gender fluid androgynous aesthetic.
Zendaya.
I mean, yes, obviously Zendaya would be
Zendaya.
the perfect. But I also know that, like, you know, you've seen a movie or a TV show and you never would have cast somebody and they come out and they just kill it, like just crush.
Yeah.
So I always want to maintain space for somebody
Sure.
to come and surprise me.
Yeah, of course. I think that's like one of the great things, kind of like what you said about like adaptations being in conversation, is like having someone breathe a different kind of life into a character is just like excellent.
I can't wait. Hi, I'm V.E. Schwab. I'm the author of many books, but the most recent is The Fragile Threads of Power, which will be hitting shelves September 26, 2023.